Hello, yeah, very good evening, dear students. Today we are continuing our topic that is straight line, and today we will be doing about in different forms of the straight line. So we have covered basically three topics related to the straight line. First topic was what is the general equation of a straight line? That is ax plus by plus c equals to 0. Why it is representing a straight line? I have given you the proof. Second thing what we have done, that was a slope of a straight line, that is a gradient and inclination. I told you three different methods to find the slope. And previously we have done how to find the angle between the two lines. That was tan theta is equals to plus minus m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 m2. Today we are extending our topic and I am starting with different forms of the straight line. So first form, that is, before starting this first form, I want you to explain about an intercepts of a line on the axis. So that is intercepts of a line on the axis. So what we mean by intercept of a line on the axis? So if I say that if a straight line cuts the x-axis, you know what is an x-axis? Suppose if I draw an x-axis, this is my x-axis, and once I draw an y-axis also. So if I name it, this is x dash, this is x, this is y dash, and this is my origin O. So if I have said if a straight line cuts the x-axis at A, suppose if I draw a straight line like this and it is cutting the x-axis at A and y-axis at B and the y-axis at B, then you are able to see the distance. This OA distance, if I draw like this OA distance, and one more distance, that is OB. This is another distance, that is OB. So this OA and OB on the x and y axis are known as intercepts. So OA and OB are known as intercepts. So OA is an intercept of x-axis and OB is an intercept of y-axis. So it depends upon our line how it is cutting the x and y axis. So as intercept is nothing else but it's a distance that is from the origin. This O is origin. So this OA distance, if I said it is A and OB distance is B, so what I can comment on A and B, that A is my x-intercept and B is my y-intercept. So as you have seen that OA is positive here because we are cutting A in a right-hand direction. It can be negative also. It depends upon A if it lies on my left-hand side. So if A is a point on OX, it will be positive. If A is a point on OX dash, it will be negative. Similarly, if OB is positive because it is on OY, and if it will be on OY dash, it will be negative. So my x-intercept and y-intercepts are the distance from the origin on x-axis and y-axis where my line is cutting both the axes. And these intercepts can be positive or negative. It depends in which direction the line is cutting the coordinate axis. Another thing I want to introduce that what will be the equation of a line parallel to the coordinate axis. So next thing what I want to explain, that is equations of lines parallel to the coordinate axis. So as you are able to see here, we are having two coordinate axes. One is x and another is y. So if I draw a line parallel to x-axis, suppose this line I have drawn, it is a parallel to y-axis. So what will be the equation of this line? I want to name this line, that is L1. So what will be the equation of this line L1? So we will find the distance of this line from the origin. Suppose if I say this distance is c, then the equation of this line will be y equal to c, because it is cutting in a positive direction. So y will be equals to c. If I draw any line which is parallel to x-axis but it is below my coordinate axis, then what will be the equation of this line? Suppose L2. So I have mentioned an equation of L1, which is a line parallel to x-axis, and now I am mentioning an equation of L2 which is parallel to x-axis, but it is below the origin. As you are able to see, it is below the origin. So as you know, we are moving down below the origin, my y-axis is negative. So if I calculate this distance, suppose if I say this distance is d, so y will be equals to minus d. This is an equation of a line which is parallel to x-axis. And you know, the x-axis, what is an equation of x-axis? A question arises here that what is an equation of x-axis? Because we are taking a line parallel to x-axis, what will be the equation of x-axis? So equation of x-axis will be y equals to 0. Why it is 0? Because x-axis is passing from the origin and we don't have a vertical distance. That means y equals to 0 is the equation of x-axis. So any line which is parallel to x-axis, you have to just judge whether this line is above the origin or this line is below the origin. If this line is above the origin, then it will be positive. If this line will be below the origin, then it will be negative. So these are the lines equation which are parallel to x-axis. Now, again, if you ask me now, so what will happen if a line is parallel to y-axis? So again, I will say that if a line is parallel to y-axis, then only two conditions are possible. That my line can be on the left-hand side of my y-axis or it can be on the right-hand side of my y-axis. So suppose if I name them L3 and L4, these are the lines. One L3 is a line which is parallel to y-axis, but it is towards the left-hand side of my origin. So left-hand side, you know, the distance from the origin is what? It is, suppose if I say it is E. So left-hand side will be a -1. So the equation of a line which is parallel to y-axis, the equation of that line will become x is equal to minus E, because this line is parallel to y-axis. And if I take a line which is parallel to y-axis but it's on the right hand side, so again if I measure a distance, as you are able to see that fortunately this L4 which I have drawn, it is passing from a point A. So that means the distance I can take A only. So that is equals to x equals to A is a line equation for L4 line. So here we are reaching to the conclusion, the lines which are parallel to x-axis and y-axis, they are having an equations in which coordinate axis is equated to our distance. If it is on a left hand side, so it will be negative. If it is on the right hand side, it will be positive. It's on a upward side, that means upward to the origin, then it will be taken as a positive, and downward side again it is negative. So what will be the equation of y-axis here? The equation of an y-axis is x equals to 0. So ultimately, in order to learn it, we can learn that for when we are asking for x-axis equation, it is y equals to 0. And when we are asking for y-axis, it is x equals to 0. So here, if I ask you one question, that write down the equation for the following lines, that you have to write an equation for x-axis. So what will be the equation for the x-axis? Second, if I say for y-axis. Third, a line parallel to x-axis at a distance of 3 units below x-axis. One more point, if I add a line parallel to y-axis at a distance of 5 units on the left hand side of it. So as I told you, what is the equation of an x-axis? The equation of the x-axis will be y equals to 0. What is the equation of y-axis? So y-axis will be x equals to 0. And if a line is parallel to x-axis at a distance of 3 units below x-axis, that means we are talking about a line which is below x-axis, that is 3 units. So what will be the equation? The equation will become y equals to minus 3. And if a line parallel to y-axis at a distance of 5 units towards the left hand side, then it will be x equals to minus 5. Okay, I think so. It has been understood that what is an intercept of a line on the axis and how we are forming an equation of a lines which are parallel to the coordinate axis. So now we are moving on another concept, that is the main what we are doing today, that is different forms of the equation of a straight line. So as you know that we have seen a first degree equation in xy which represent a straight line. So now the first degree equation in x and y represents a straight line. We all know that first degree equation of x and y represents a straight line. So now this equation, what I have written, that ax plus by plus c equals to 0, this is a general equation of a straight line. So this straight line can be represented in different forms. So what is our different forms related to this line? So we will be learning about the different forms, and that is what first form what we are learning today, that is slope intercept form of a line. Okay, slope intercept form of a line. So this is the first form of a line which we'll be doing now. So as you are able to hear the form of a line, that is slope intercept form. So you know what is a slope? Slope is gradient. We also know about an intercept. Intercept is a part of the axis, x or y, which a line is cutting. So I'm drawing a coordinate axis. Let x and y be two coordinate axes. Let us name them x. This is O, that is my origin, and x dash. This is y, O, and y dash. Now, as you are able to see, the name of the line is slope intercept. Let us take one line. Suppose if I am taking this line, okay? So this line is cutting an y-axis at point Q and making an angle of theta. Making an angle of theta. And so what will be the equation of this line? I want to represent it. And it is cutting in y-axis at an intercept. Suppose this distance is C. This OQ distance I have taken as a C. So how we will find the equation of this line? So let us find. So as you are able to see that this line intersects y-axis at Q and makes an angle theta with the x-axis, then if I know my angle theta, I can find a slope of a line. Slope is what? That is m. And m is what? That is tan theta. So the slope of a line is tan theta, right? Let us take one point P on this line. X comma y is a coordinate of this point. And if I draw perpendicular from this point here, that is PL. If I take PL, then what will be this vertical distance? This will be y. And if I draw one more perpendicular from here and mark it as QM, then this distance will be what? This distance will be x. Because what is my P point? P point is x and y, and x is abscissa, y is ordinate. And abscissa is distance from the origin. And ordinate is a distance from the origin, that is a vertical distance. So if I want to mark my PM, what is PM? PM is nothing else but y minus c. So as you know that this angle is theta, so this angle will also be theta as a corresponding angle. So angle MQP is also equals to theta, as QM is parallel to x-axis and it's a corresponding angle. And QM is equals to OL, that is equals to x. This is also x, this is also x. And if you find out the distance of PM, so what is PM? PM is equals to PL minus ML, that is equals to y minus c. So in triangle QPM, if I apply a trigonometric ratio, that is tan theta, that is tan theta is equals to PM divided by QM in a right angle triangle PQM, because what is tan theta? Tan theta is a ratio of perpendicular distance divided by the base. So in a right angle triangle, perpendicular distance is PM, and what is PM? It is y minus c divided by x. And I can write my tan theta as m. So I am getting m equals to y minus c by x. If I multiply it, mx is equals to y minus c. So y equals to mx plus c. So finally, I have got my slope intercept form, that is y equals to mx plus c, where m is my slope and c is my y-intercept. So as this form of a line contains slope and intercept, that's why it is called as a slope-intercept form. Now one thing more, if a line passes through the origin, then what will happen? If a line passes through the origin, then what will happen? The c-intercept will be equals to 0, because this distance will be 0, because my line is not making any intercept through y-axis. So if I make c equals to 0, the equation of a line will become y equals to mx. Y equals to mx, where m is a slope of a line. So if any line which is passing from the origin will not have any intercept. Okay? Now, what will happen if a line is parallel to x-axis? Then, if I make a line which is parallel to x-axis, so according to slope-intercept form, a line parallel to x-axis is making an y-intercept, but as it is parallel to x-axis, it is not making any angle, that means any slope. So the slope will be 0, because it is making 0-degree angle, and if I take tan of 0-degree, then it is 0. So my m will become 0. Now my equation will become y equals to c. So in a slope-intercept form, we are having two things. When a line is passing from the origin, it becomes y equals to mx, and if a line is parallel to x-axis, it will become y equals to c, because line parallel to x-axis will be making a 0-degree angle, and if we calculate tan of 0-degree angle, it will be 0. So the slope of the line which are parallel to x-axis is 0. So I can put my m equals to 0 in a slope-intercept form, y equals to mx plus c. So y equals to 0 into x plus c will be giving me y equals to c. So this was basically a form of a slope-intercept form. We can have a question on it. Let us add one question. Suppose my question is, find the equation of a straight line which cuts off an intercept of 5 units on negative direction of y-axis and makes an angle of 120 degree with the positive direction of x-axis. So let's solve this question. So what is said? Find the equation of a straight line which cuts off an intercept of 5 units on a negative direction of y-axis. So when we are talking about a negative direction, that what is c here? It is minus 5. And what will be my m? M will be equals to tan of 120 degree. So tan of 120 degree is what? Tan 90 plus 30, that is equals to cot 30. and it is negative. So m is equals to minus, what is cot 30? Cot 30 is root 3. So I got the slope, I got the intercept. So what is my slope intercept form? That is equals to mx plus c. So y is equals to minus root 3x minus 5. So I can say that my equation is y plus root 3x plus 5 is equals to 0. So this is my required equation. So that means if an intercept and a slope has been provided to me, I can find an equation of a straight line. One more question we can add. Question number 2. And the question is that find the equation okay. Question number 2. Find the equation of a straight line which cuts of an intercept of length 3 on y-axis and is parallel to the line joining the points 3 comma minus 2 and 1 comma 4. So what do you understand by this question? This question is saying very clearly to find the equation of a straight line which cuts off an intercept of length 3 on y-axis and is parallel to the line joining the points 3 comma minus 2 and 1 comma 4. So that means if I solve this question, I know the intercept that is equals to 3. I want to know the slope of the line. And he is saying this line is parallel to a line joining 2 points. Suppose these 2 points are P and Q. So P coordinate is 3 comma minus 2 and 1 comma 4. So a line is parallel to this line. And we know the condition for the parallel. And what is the condition for parallelism? That is m1 is equals to m2. That means both the slopes are equal. So if I find the slope of this line PQ, I can find a slope of my line which I need to calculate. So what will be the slope of a line PQ? So slope of a line PQ, I will apply a formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And it is 4 minus of minus 2 divided by 1 minus 3. That is 6 divided by minus 2, that is minus 3. So I got the slope of PQ line, and PQ line is parallel to the required line. So what will be the slope for this line? It will be minus 3. And I know my equation, it is y equals to mx plus c. So y is equal to 3x minus 3. So this is my required equation. Y equals to 3x minus 3. No. My required equation will be y equals to minus 3x plus 3. Or I can say that 3x plus y minus 3 equals to 0. This is my required equation. Now, one more question we can add here with this form only. And my question is that find the equation of a straight line cuts of an intercept four units, or we can say intercept of 4, and is perpendicular to the line joining coordinates at 2, -3 and 4, 2. So now again they have given me an intercept which line is cutting and is perpendicular to the line joining 2, -4, 2. And as we know the condition for perpendicularity, and what is that condition? That the product of both the slopes should be equals to -1. So if I find the slope of this line joining 2, -4, 2, so I can find the slope of my required equation. So what will be slope? y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So again I will apply a formula, 2 minus of -3 divided by 4 minus 2. That is equals to 5 divided by 2. So this is the slope of a line which is joining 2, -3, 4, 2. But I need to find the slope of a line which is perpendicular to this line. So if 5 upon 2 is a slope, then m2 is -1. So m2 is what? -2 by 5. I told you regarding the short trick also, if you need to find the slope of a perpendicular line, then what you can do? You can reciprocal and change the sign. So if 5 by 2, what will be the reciprocal? It is 2 by 5, and change the sign, it will be negative. So -2 by 5 will be the slope of a line which is perpendicular to this line. So now I got the slope of the line and I know the intercept, that is 4. So what is my equation? Y equals to mx plus c. So y equals, what is my m? -2 by 5, and what is my c? +4. I have to put x here. So again, if you will solve this equation, so y is equals to -2x plus 20 into 5. So 5y plus 2x is equal to 20. Or you can put 20 also on the left hand side. So my equation will become 2x plus 5y minus 20 equal to 0. So this is my required equation. Now we are moving on a next form of a straight line. I explained you about a slope intercept form of a line, that is y equals to mx plus c. Why it is y equals to mx plus 3, that proof also I have given you, and some related questions we have done. So we can apply this form y equals to mx plus c when intercept and slope we can get anyhow. So for slope, they can give you the coordinates on a line. They can give you your coordinates of a line joining, which is line parallel to the required line, or perpendicularity condition you can apply. So different ways are there. Second topic, that is a form of a straight line we are putting here, that is point slope form of a line. So what is a point slope form of a line? So as you are seeing that this name is representing a point. So let us take one point, that is x1 and y1 is 1 point. And I am taking a slope, that is m. So if a point is known, as a slope is known, then we can find a point slope form of a line. So what is point slope form? Point slope form is y minus y1 is equals to m times x minus x1. This is a point slope form, where x1 and y1, where x1 and y1 is a point on a line. And what is slope? Slope is m. So if I am finding an equation of a line on which a point have been given, that is x1 and y1, and the slope of this line is given as m. So how to find this equation, y minus y1 equals to mx minus x1, and y from where it is coming? So let us take one more point q and name it as x comma y. So what will be the slope of this line if two coordinates have been given? So we can apply a formula in order to find the slope of a line. That is, when two coordinates have been given. So m will be equals to y minus y1 divided by x minus x1. So as you know, this slope is equals to y minus y1 divided by x minus x1. And if I multiply it towards my left hand side, cross multiply, so I will get y minus y1 is equals to m times x minus x1. So this is the required equation. So let us do a question related to it. Point slope form of a line. So y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1 is a required equation. So find the equation of a line passing through 2, minus 3, inclined at an angle of 135 degree with the positive direction of x-axis. So as you are able to see that they have given us a point that the line is passing through 2, minus 3 and making an angle of 135 degree. So we can find the slope of this line, that is m. M is equals to 10, 135 degree. So m is equals to 10, 90 plus 45. So m will be equals to minus cot 45. So m is equals to minus 1, as cot 45 is 1. So we know our slope, and they have given us a point, that this point is passing from a line 2, minus 3. So what is my required equation? So my required equation was y minus y1 is equals to m times x minus x1. So this coordinate is having an x1 and y1. So y minus of minus 3 is equal to minus 1, x minus 2. So y plus 3 is equals to minus x plus 2. So x plus y plus 1 equals to 0. This is my required equation. So this form of a line is known as a point slope form of a line. Let us do one more question related to it. Question number 2. Determine the equation of line through the point minus 4, minus 3 and parallel to x-axis. So now see, we have to find an equation of a line which is passing through the point minus 4, minus 3 and parallel to the x-axis. So as you know, when a line is parallel to x-axis, what will be my slope? Slope will be 0. That means m is 0. And this is a point that is minus 4, minus 3. So this is my x1 and this is my y1. So y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So y minus of minus 3 is equals to 0, x minus of minus 4. So y plus 3 equal to 0, x plus 4. So y plus 3 equals to 0. So y equals to minus 3. This is the equation of a straight line. Add one more question. So this question you can do very tricky method also. Second tricky method, as they have given it parallel to y-axis. So this means where this point will lie. This point will lie minus 4, minus in third quadrant, minus 4, minus 3. That means how this line will pass. If it is parallel to x-axis, it will pass on the point like this only. So that means what is the distance from the origin? That is minus 3. So what will be the direct equation? Y equals to minus 3. Directly we can find an equation. Because I told you in today's starting class only, if a line is parallel to x-axis, the equation becomes y equals to the distance from the origin, whether it is a left-hand side or whether it is an upward side or a downward side. If it is upward, then it will be positive. If it is downward, then it will be negative. Same thing is happening here. Minus 4, minus 3 is a point have been given, and this line is parallel to x-axis. That means the angle it is making 0, tan 0 is 0. So we are having a slope equals to 0. So we can directly write that y equals to minus 3. Similarly, if you flip the question, that the line is passing from minus 4, minus 3, and it is parallel to y-axis, then what will be the equation? Yes, the equation will be equals to x equals to minus 3. Right? So now, adding to another concept related to the equation form, that is known as another form of a line. It is point form. Yes. What's the name? Point form, or you can say it is a 2-point form of a line. Third one. Now this is the third form I'm telling you. That is 2-point form of a line. So as you are able to understand from the name, now 2-point form of a line means that 2 points will be provided to you. So let us take that the equation we are finding of a line passing through 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2. So these are the 2 points. And if I talk about a 2-point form of a line, it is y minus y1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 and bracket x minus x1. So this is a required equation of a straight line when 2 points have been given to us. So why this form is coming? Because 2 points have been given to us, so I can easily find a slope of a line. So what is my slope? M is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is my slope. And what was the previous equation? It was point slope form. So slope we know, point also we know, that is x1, y1. So y minus y1 is equals to m times x minus x1. This was a previous equation. And if I put a value of m here, then y minus y1 is equals to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. So this is my required equation. So as 2 points have been given to us, so we can find our required equation, that is y minus y1 equals to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. So here only one thing we have to fix, what are my points x1, y1 and x2, y2. We cannot interchange them in between of the question. For an example, let us take one question. For an example, I need to find the equation of a line joining the points -1, 3 and 4, 2. So as now 2 points have been given to me, I need to find equation of a line joining the point -1, 3 and 4, 2. So -1, 3 and 4, 2 are 2 points. So I will apply 2-point form of a line. So let us fix them. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So what will be my slope? Or don't calculate a slope. You can directly put in an equation that is y minus y1, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, bracket x minus x1. So y minus 3 is equal to 2 minus 3 divided by 4 minus of minus 1 and x minus of minus 1, x plus 1. So my equation became y minus 3 is equal to -1/5 x plus 1. Cross multiply, then 5y minus 15 is equals to minus x minus 1. X plus 5y minus 14 equals to 0 is my required equation. Okay. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So like this we can calculate a 2-point form of a line. Let's do this question once again. So the required equation is y minus y1 is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. So y minus 2, y1 is 3, y minus 3 is equal to 2 minus 3 divided by 4 minus of minus 1 and x minus of minus 1, x plus 1. So y minus 2 equals to -1/5 x plus 1. So it will become 5y minus 10 equals to minus x minus 1. So this will be my required equation. So we have learned today 3 forms of a line. First was slope-intercept form. Second was point-slope form. Third was 2-point form of a line. Now we will be doing a 4th type of a line that is known as intercept form of a line. What is it? It is an intercept form of a line. So again a word intercept is coming, and I have already told you what is an intercept. So if we are having 2 x's, that is x and y, and a line is there which is cutting x and y at any point, 2 different points, let us name them. This is y dash and this is x, so x dash. Let this point be b, this point be a, this is o. So what will be the equation of this line, that is AB line? So again, if I say that OA is A and OB is B, the distance. So what will be the coordinate of A? A coordinate will be A, 0 and B coordinate will be 0, B. So as I know 2 coordinates that lies on AB, that is A, 0 and 0, B. So I can find an equation of a line AB because two coordinates have been known. So we can apply a 2-point form. So A, 0 and 0, B. Let us take A as x1 and y1. This is x2. This is y2. And what is my equation? Y minus y1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. So y minus 0 is equal to b minus 0 divided by 0 minus a and x minus a. So what it will become? Y equals to b upon minus a x minus a minus ay is equals to bx minus ab. So let us send this ab this side. Ab is equals to bx plus ay. So I am getting bx plus ay is equals to ab. If I divide both the side by ab, so what will happen? This b and b get cancelled, a cancel, this cancel. What is left? X by a plus y by b equals to 1. Where a is what? A is x-intercept. And what is b? B is y-intercept. So this type of an equation is known as intercept form. One another method we can apply here. If I take a point P, x, y, and if I join OP. So as you are able to see that if I find an area of this whole triangle, area of triangle OAB is what? Area of triangle OPA plus area of triangle OPB. So what is the area of triangle OAB? It's a right angle triangle. So I can say that half A into B. What will be the area of OAP if I take a perpendicular distance? What is this perpendicular distance? This is y. So half base into y, height plus. If I make a perpendicular distance here, this distance is x. So what will be the area of this triangle? Half b into x. So AB is equals to AY plus BX is coming. And if I divide both the side by AB, so I will get 1 equals to x by A plus y by B. So again I am getting the intercept form. So this is another method we can prove that yx upon A plus y upon B equals to 1 is an intercept form. So what to remember in this form is that A is what? A is an x-intercept. And what is y? B. B is an y-intercept. So it depends upon my intercept. Suppose if I give you an equation 3x minus 4y equals to 12 and I need to find an x-intercept and y-intercept, how I will find 3x minus 4y equals to 12, divide both the side by 12. So this will become x divided by 4 plus y divided by minus 3 is equals to 1. So this 4 is x-intercept and this minus 3 is y-intercept. So how this line will cut? As you are able to see, x-intercept is 4, which is positive, y-intercept is minus 3, which will be negative. So this line will be passing like this. So today what we have learned regarding the forms of these lines, 4 forms we have basically covered. Okay, that is slope intercept form of a line. Then we have covered point slope form of a line. Then we have covered 2-point form of a line, and then intercept form of a line. It is not an end of the forms of a line. We are having a remaining one more form that is known as a normal form of a line, which we will be doing in a next class. So again, you see the slides. What we have learned today in the straight line chapter. So we have learned related to the forms of a line. So we will be covering another form of a line that will be known as a normal form or a perpendicular form of a line. So the fifth form, what we will be learning, that is normal form or perpendicular form of a line. Okay. So this we will do. And what we have learned today, how many forms of a line we have learned? First was slope intercept form. Second one, it was point slope form. Third one, it was 2-point form. Fourth one, it was intercept form. And fifth will be normal form or perpendicular form. Okay. So again, slope intercept form is what? Y equals to mx plus c. Point slope form, that is y minus y1 is equals to m times x minus x1. Next form, that is point slope form, 2-point form, y minus y1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. Next form, that will be a normal form. So if I introduce my normal form, it will be x cos alpha plus y sin alpha is equals to p. And intercept form, it is x by a plus y by b is equals to 1. So all these forms are representing a straight line. So if I ask you what is the general form of a straight line? So general form of a straight line is that only ax plus by plus c equals to 0. That is, it is a linear equation in two variables. So we have covered 1, 2, 3, 4. This fifth normal form, it is normal. M-A-L, normal form. Children, you know what is normal? What is a normal? If a circle is there and I draw a line which is touching the circle, so everybody know it is a tangent, and a perpendicular line to the tangent is a normal. So perpendicular lines are basically known as a normal. And you know what is perpendicular? It's a very famous word, perpendicular. In some movie, it was a name also of a person.